The scene begins with hardworking Carlinos, spotted going through files in his office even though it's almost Christmas Eve. His work is interrupted by his secretary, Leonardo, who informs him of yet another document that needs to be signed. Carlinos is not happy about it, and he complains of being tired of work. Leonardo informs his boss that Pedro Afonso, his cousin who he is always at odds with, granted his own team a day off for Christmas. He is not so subtly hinting that Carlinos should also give them a day off, but his boss simply brushes him off and tells him to leave his office. Later on, while on the drive home with his driver, Jorge, Carlinos rants about the upcoming family dinner he has to attend. He also tells Jorge of his plans to propose to his girlfriend of 10 years, Isabella, or Bibella as he fondly calls her. Carlinos arrives at Bibella's house with the flowers and ring in his pocket. He calls out for her, but there is no answer. He searches around for her and finds an unrecognizable pair of underwear on the table and starts to panic. He goes to the bathroom and finds Isabella in the bathtub. He starts to propose to her, but discovers that she is with another woman. Carlinos is shocked and heartbroken to find out that his girlfriend has been cheating on him. He runs out of the house and into the arms of a stranger. The stranger turns out to be Grassa, who appears lost and alone. They topple to the ground, and Grassa hits her head. They are forced to escape to a nearby beach when Bibella keeps screaming after Carlinos. He helps Grassa treat the bump she received from their fall. They get to know each other better. She tells him how she lost her belongings and got separated from her family. She appears quite hysterical, as she has no way of communicating with them. Carlinos pities her and decides to help Grassa make a report to the police so they can locate her luggage and also contact her family. She thinks that the police will complicate issues, but Carlinos assures her that he has connections within the police. Jorge introduces them to a policewoman, who informs them that it may take time to investigate her case since it's Christmas and they are understaffed. Grassa gets angry and threatens to cause a scene, but the policewoman warns that she will be arrested if she does not calm down. Outside, Carlinos finds an emotionally distraught Grassa, worried about spending the holiday at the police station instead of with her family. He quickly reassures her that he will help, but then Jorge reminds him of his grandmother, Lady Sophia's family dinner. Carlinos is too embarrassed to tell his family about what happened with Bibella, so Grassa suggests they pretend she is his girlfriend so he won't have to explain. She also gets to spend Christmas with the family. Although tempted, he finds it hard to lie to them on Christmas, so Grassa teases him by suggesting he tell them the truth about Bibella's cheating. Agreeing to the plan, they take a helicopter to his family's house. Although Grassa initially claims she's not scared of flying, she grabs onto Carlinos when they hit turbulence. When they land, she has trouble walking in her heels due to losing her balance from the flight. When they reach his family's house, Grassa can't believe how beautiful and festive his family home is. She is giddy with joy and prances from one Christmas decoration to another. Carlinos is scared that she won't fit in with his stuck-up family, and he regrets his decision. Ms. Chica appears and complains about all of the noise in the house. Grassa startles at her voice and regains her composure. She thinks that she is Lady Sophia, Carlinos' grandmother, but Carlinos introduces her as his grandmother's assistant. Ms. Chica is surprised when Carlinos introduces Grassa as his new girlfriend, and even more so when she is told that Grassa has no clothes with her. Grassa finds it funny when Ms. Chica points out that Bibella had a separate room from Carlinos. She concludes that it is the reason why she cheated on him. The dining table is set with various delicacies fit for royalty. Carlinos greets his cousin and arch-rival, Pedro Afonso, who never fails to engage him in silly fights. When Solange, Pedro's girlfriend, asks about her sauna partner, Bibella, Carlinos informs her that he met someone else. As if on cue, Grassa slides down the stairway banister screaming in joy, and oblivious to the scene she has caused. Pedro Alonso and Solange stare at her in horror. They find it difficult to believe Carlinos when he introduces Grassa to them as his girlfriend. They ridicule her choice of clothes, but she is witty, and she jokes that her clothes did not survive her private escapades with Carlinos. Pedro and his girlfriend are surprised at how outspoken she is. Grassa is pleased with the white lie she just told to put Pedro Alonso and his girlfriend in their place. She takes a drink from a waiter and scrunches up her face at its taste. Carlinos tries to tell her that their plan is not working out, as she has succeeded in already antagonizing some of his family. He is worried that she will make a worse spectacle in front of his grandmother. They are intercepted by his ever-busy auntie, who is always on a work call. He tries to introduce Grassa to her, but she is more concerned about Carlinos signing a document. Grassa is shocked that people are working, even when it should be a Christmas holiday. Carlinos takes her to meet someone who does not work in the family business. They approach an older woman, who Carlinos calls Alice. She scolds him for breaking up with his girlfriend of 10 years and attending the family dinner with a complete stranger. This comment brushes Grassa the wrong way, and she does not fail to point out that Carlinos' auntie is rude. Carlinos informs her that Alice is indeed his mother, and not his auntie. Grassa finds it weird that Carlinos does not call Alice mom, different from how normal people behave. Alice finds it odd that they are unable to coordinate their stories when she asks them where they met. When his father asks to see him privately, Carlinos is hesitant to leave Graça alone, fearing that she would say or do something unusual. He refuses to tell his father why he broke up with Bibella and brought a stranger to dinner. Carlinos promises him that he will grow to like Graça. His father is not reassured at all, especially not after he sees Graça throwing up food and rinsing her mouth with the pool water. Graça is hungry and she tries to enlist the help of Carlinos' young cousin, Isodel, to find some snacks, but the girl ignores her. Graça meets Carlinos' fun aunt, Milu, who takes her under her wing and is the first person to make her feel comfortable. She introduces Graça to her husband, Bento Loro. Graça is excited to meet the famous TikToker and pop star. An alarm goes off, signaling the arrival of Lady Sophia, and the house is thrown into pandemonium. Everybody scrambles to get into the perfect position. Graça is surprised to see everybody running around, including Carlinos, who positions himself in front of her. Lady Sophia approaches her family, and with an intimidating stare, she informs them of her decision. She will hand over the affairs of their business to someone else in the family due to her bypass surgery. This elicits murmurs among them as they try to figure out who Lady Sophia will select to replace her. Lady Sophia notices Graça's unfamiliar laughter and calls her out. Graça introduces herself and kisses Lady Sophia's cheeks. The rest of the family stare surprised at the exchange, not being used to such greetings. At the table, Pedro brings up the issue of Bibella again and inquires why Carlinos broke up with her, but he is reluctant to talk about it. Pedro tries calling Bibella to ask her directly, but Graça snatches the phone from him and drops it in a glass of water. They stare at her with their mouths agape. Pedro is furious as he tries to embarrass her by asking her about her family and origin. Graça does not let it slide, and she begins to question him on different things as well. When Pedro fails to correctly answer the question about his girlfriend's favorite food, Solange gets mad about it. Graça continues to ask them questions about the members of their family, but they all fail to give the correct answers. This shows that amid their claimed superiority, they don't know themselves well enough. This causes a big fight amongst them all, so they resort to throwing food at themselves, while Lady Sophia tries hard to separate them. Carlinos does not look happy at the turn of events. He feels that the fight will disintegrate his family. Graça assures him that it is good for them to let loose once in a while. Ms. Chica tries to find out from Graça how she became friends with Carlinos, but she refuses to tell her. She threatens her with violence and informs her that she is willing to do anything to protect Carlinos, who she treats like her own son. Graça is touched by her love and proceeds to tell her their plan and her family story. Her love for Christmas came from her father, who played Father Christmas all through her childhood. Since the death of her father and no family to spend Christmas with, she is inspired by Saint Nicholas to crash other people's Christmas holidays and make happy memories with them. She shows her the various adorable pictures of the other families she has spent Christmas with and their backstories. When she divulges to Ms. Chica that Bibella cheated on Carlinos with a woman, she pleads with her to keep the secret safe and promises to leave the house after lunch the next day. It's bright and sunny the next day, and Carlinos finds it absurd to see Graça chatting animatedly with his grandmother. He tries to pull her away from the conversation, but Graça is adamant on staying with Lady Sophia. She unknowingly agrees to play polo with the rest of the family and decides to just wing it even though she is a novice. Graça looks smart in her getup, but fails to pass her first test, which is to climb on a horse. Carlinos' father observes this with annoyance and chides his son for breaking up with Bibella, who is a professional equestrian. She finds it difficult to control her horse, and when the game starts, it's a battle between Carlinos and his cousin Pedro. Graça scores for her team, but unfortunately hits the ball towards Lady Sophia's nose, and chaos ensues. A doctor is called, and her nose is put in a cast, much to the lady's annoyance. Meanwhile, Graça beats herself up over the accident. In an effort to make her happy, Carlinos takes her to the Christmas fair. Graça is overjoyed at his kind gesture. Carlinos fails to understand her obsession with Christmas, so she takes it upon herself to make him enjoy the glittering lights and enjoy the Christmas fair. They play around with some masks and eat some cotton candy. Graça stumbles into Rui, who she has spent Christmas with in the past. He claims that he still loves her and proceeds to chase her. Graça and a confused Carlinos try to escape from him. The only thing she explains to Carlinos is that he is some jerk from her past. They continue with their exploration of the fair, and in a lighthearted moment, Graça teases him on his use of fancy words. He playfully promises to try to stop. At the museum, Carlinos has his hands full, stopping Graça from breaking the artifacts. They get into an argument about inheritance and responsibility. Graça advises him to stop complaining about his family and rather be grateful that he has them for Christmas. Graça decides to tell him the truth about her family, but Carlinos interrupts her. He looks down at her with adoring eyes and tells her that he enjoys being her fake boyfriend. He tries to get closer to her, and Graça notices this as she tries to ruin the moment by talking about food. Carlinos informs Graça that every year his family hosts a ball, and they must attend it. Graça panics because she has no dress appropriate enough for the event, but Ms. Chica runs to her rescue. Later that day, the ball is in full swing, with guests teaming and dancing to the music. Pedro Afonso tries to start a fight with Carlinos, but Ms. Chica stops them and advises them to remain calm. Like a shining star, Graça appears at the top of the stairs, in a floor-length red dress. She leaves everyone breathless, and they all stare, mesmerized by her beauty. Carlinos meets her at the foot of the stairs and tells her that she is beautiful. Pedro Afonso teases her and calls her Mrs. Klaus. She retaliates and smacks him on the back of his head. At the end of the hall, Graça and Carlinos talk about his grandma, who Graça says looks classy in her dress. They watch in consternation as Pedro Afonso tries to make a good impression by serving Lady Sofia a drink, but he is outsmarted by little Isolda. The whole family is trying their best to win Grandma's favor, so they will be put in charge of the company. Graça complains to Ms. Chica that the fancy drinks being served at the ball taste sour. Ms. Chica is affronted, and she advises Graça to suck it up and behave like the princess she transformed her to be. Graça hesitates when Carlinos beckons her to the dance floor to join the other couples. She reminds him that she finds it difficult to dance, but Carlinos promises to lead the dance so she doesn't struggle as much. As they start slow dancing, Graça actually seems to be enjoying herself. They even share a sweet and emotional moment as they stare into each other's eyes. Graça gets bored by the slow music and decides to change things up. She asks the maestro to play Bento Loro's pop song, and she performs the choreography along with him and his wife. The others watch them, full of judgment, except for Carlinos, who grins from ear to ear at Graça's display. Lady Sofia cuts off their fun. She is furious at Graça for changing her song choice. Graça informs her that her family are together, only because they want ownership of the family business. Lady Sofia does not believe her, but when she asks her family if it's true, they are hesitant to respond to her. Graça gives her a lesson on what unites people together during Christmas. She snatches the microphone and starts singing a song. She drags Carlinos to sing with her. He starts singing, and they keep passing the microphone to other members of the family. The party finally becomes fun, as everybody sings along. Lady Sofia is asked to sing, and she reluctantly does, much to everyone's enjoyment, except for Pedro Afonso, who is not impressed with them. Lady Sofia is happy that guests are having fun. During the speech, she hands over the company to Carlinos, who is surprised at his grandma's announcement. He accepts her offer at the insistence of Graça. Pedro Afonso storms out of the ballroom in anger, jealous of Carlinos' win. He decides to find some dirt on Graça to get back at them. He searches up her name online, but comes up with no results. He overhears Carlinos and Graça conversing nearby, so he hides and tries to spy on their conversation. Carlinos is overwhelmed with the change in his family and his grandma's announcement. He thanks Graça for helping him out, but she brushes him off, joking that it's all thanks to the necklace her father gave her. She tells him about the necklace and its deep meaning to her. She promises Carlinos that she will never forget this Christmas she spent with him. Carlinos tries to kiss her under the mistletoe, but she feigns ignorance and escapes his advances. Pedro is irritated at their affectionate display. He leaves them and returns to the ball. It's a beautiful morning, and Graça stares lovingly at Carlinos while he sleeps. She returns the dress that she wore to the ball, back to Ms. Chica. Graça informs her that it is time for her to go, but Ms. Chica stops her. She tells her to stay with Carlinos because he is in love with her. Graça is sad as she tells Ms. Chica that Carlinos only likes the sophisticated Graça, not the real her. Ms. Chica does not understand the issue, and she advises Graça to simply tell him the truth so they can be together. Graça is adamant on leaving, but Ms. Chica warns her not to come crying to her when she is alone. Graça tells her that she has nothing to lose, because she already is alone. This makes them emotional, and they share a tight hug. Carlinos wakes up and calls out for Graça, but he receives no response. He looks for her around the house, but when he does not find her, he fears that she has left. Graça sneaks up on him, and she seems to be jittery. He tries to move closer to her, but she brushes him off. She reminds him that their deal is over, but Carlinos is not ready to call it quits yet. Graça agrees, but decides to tell him the truth first. They are interrupted by his father, who tells them that it is time to share their gifts. Graça is surprised to see bitcoins being shared as a Christmas gift. She tells them that Christmas gifts should be simple and heartfelt. Pedro interrupts her, and he reveals Carlinos' secret to the family. Carlinos is forced to tell his family about Bibella's betrayal, and they all feel sorry for him. Although, this is new to Pedro, as he never knew about it. Pedro actually wanted to let them know that Graça is a con artist, and she is not who she claims to be. Pedro presents Rui, one of her past Christmas buddies, who chased Graça at the Christmas fair. He exposes Graça's secret, and it leaves all of them, especially Carlinos, hurt at her deceit. Carlinos feels betrayed. She tries to explain that at first, it was all just about the Christmas dinner, but it became so much more. Carlinos doesn't want to hear her out, and he accuses her of lying about everything to him, including about her necklace from her father. She lashes out at him, with a warning not to involve her father. When Carlinos asks her how much she wants for her act, Graça's feelings are hurt, They are interrupted by Bibella, who comes in, with an air of importance. Graça is annoyed to see her, and bitterly tells Carlinhos to marry his princess after all, before storming off. Bibella does not even glance at Carlinhos, as she is here for Solange, and not him. Carlinhos tries to stop Graça, but he is too late. A car takes her away from the house, and he is left looking lost, while his family looks at him with pity. His job performance is affected, as he appears to be distracted at his meetings. Lady Sophia visits him, to talk some sense into him. She advises him to find Graça because people sometimes, for some reason, do not tell the truth. It might have nothing to do with him after all. Carlinhos is touched by his grandma's concern, and he decides to step down from his new position. He wants to do something that makes him happy, and not what other people want. Lady Sophia gives him her consent. He calls for a family meeting, and with their help, he plots how he intends to win Graça back. With Bento Laro's social media influence, Carlinhos performs a song for Graça on a live broadcast, with the hope that she watches it. He also shares stickers with pictures of Graça on them, and makes announcements on the railway stations, begging Graça to forgive him and come back to him. These create quite a buzz on social media, but Graça is not impressed when she sees them. He hosts a New Year's Eve party, and the entire city shows up. Carlinhos is not quite sure that Graça will be showing up. Graça looks lonely. While she waits for the bus at the station, she stares into thin air, with a blank face, as she eats some snacks. Meanwhile, Carlinhos is at the party, and batting off a persistent Liu, who keeps advising him about Graça. When Graça boards the bus, she is surprised to see Lady Sophia. She tries to entice Graça to spend the next Christmas with her family, by allowing her to choose the band and music, but Graça refuses the offer. Lady Sophia tells her that Carlinhos is trying to change for the better, and he has quit his job. She also points to Carlinhos' picture on a billboard nearby, just to show how sorry he is. At the party, Carlinhos is shown thanking the crowd for their help. He counts down to the new year with them, while he looks around, hoping that Graça shows up. He is devastated when it's officially New Year, and Graça is nowhere to be found. He is inconsolable when he sees couples together, but Lady Sophia appears with a surprise, Graça behind her. They are surprised to see Graça, and Carlinhos smiles from ear to ear. He professes his love to her. They repeat their own countdown, and share a special moment together, with the fireworks in the background.